All right. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to do a histogram in Excel. I'll demo it again, and I'll also post step-by-step instructions on how to do it. It's a little more
Okay.
So there's a couple of ways to go about it. One way to do it is to make a new table based on the data. So off to the side here, I'm going to make what are called bins or buckets. And a bin is just what numbers are accessible or acceptable to count in each group. So sometimes they're called bins, sometimes they're called groups, sometimes they're called buckets. Different programs have different ways to call them. So, and for Excel, I might be looking for people that are 10 years old and older up to 20, and 20 years old up to 29. So for example, suppose my bins were 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20. If you don't want Excel to make it into a date, put a little apostrophe on it. And say, oh, 29, over the next group week, 30 to 39. Yeah. So those are my human readable buckets, groups, or bins, whatever you want to call them. Excel only wants to know what's the largest acceptable number for each group. So for Excel, I would want to tell it 9, 19, 29. Yeah, I was going to autofill it. That's me. And so on. So it wants to know the maximum acceptable number. Once I give it the maxes for each group, then I can tell it to give me a frequency count from some list of tons of numbers. So it will look in and say, okay, how many of them are from 0 to 9? Okay, now how many are from 10 to 19, etc. Rather than me having to count them. Now here, my groups are much simpler. So for my bins, I want to know about any number up to 0, and any number up to 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So this will give me all the zeros and all the ones, 2s, 3s. So usually when I'm making a histogram in a spreadsheet, if I'm using Excel, I'll have 3 columns going. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
I'll have the human readable bins. I'll have the bin maxes, so Excel can help me count things, and I'll have how many of each. So let me extend this. So Kelly, we just started a new recruit shift. Folks. First highlight. And then I can have Excel use those bin maxes. The maxes to count them. So I'm going to, I call it count off and frequency. All right, so then the way to do it is, for the frequency, it's actually, I want to know the count for every one of these items right here. And you always give Excel an extra place in case you're wrong in what's the largest, the end. So you always have to give it one extra spot. And then you just start typing equals frequency. It says you want the frequency command. I hit tab to say yes. And then it says give me the data. So then I go over here and say, okay, Excel, here's all of the data. It says now tell me what the bins are. And so I say, okay, Excel, here are your bins. Then I close the parentheses. And then here's the catch that screws me up half the time. You can't hit enter. That will only tell you how many zeros there are. You have to hit Control-Shift-Enter for it to count for each category. And then I can grab this data to get it histogram. So then I go to Insert and walk through the charts. It grabs the histogram first. So it takes a little getting used to making a histogram in Excel. There is another method. It's equally cumbersome. Google Sheets makes it way easier. It's like a 2-button thing, or Excel, it's a multi-step process. And you got to remember to hit Control-Shift-Enter. So I'll post instructions on how to do it both in Excel and in Sheets, because we're going to need to make some histograms. Yeah, so if you don't hit Control Shift Enter, so let me do that.
One.
Yeah, so if I start,
and paste
nope, can't do it. Won't do it. It's the way Excel is built. So if I do that again, do my data, comma, and I highlight my fields. And then I close my parentheses and I hit Enter. Okay, so there's 3 zeros, all right. And then I say, oh, maybe I should have filled that down. And then it just kind of gives me all kinds of crazy crap. There's not that many numbers in this list, right? Yeah. How many? Yeah, it's just messing up now. So you remember the thing when you fill data down, it tries to change the row references by 1 each time? So it's messing up all of that row references now. So before, where I was saying look in this block and this block, if I look in this cell down here now, it's looking in the wrong spots now. Put that down. No data, no this. So the only way to make a frequency table, which you need to make a histogram, is that full Control Shift Enter. So I have it written down in detail.
You're going to want us to do it in Excel.
Yeah. I just tell people, if you love Excel and that's what you want to use, you've got to master Excel. Otherwise, go use Google Sheets sometime. It's way easier. Or you can just do it by hand. Now here's the problem with that. How do you know how to choose the group sizes? Like, why is 0 to 9 and 10 to 19 the best way to group people by age? Maybe it would be better to go from 0 to 4, oops, and then from 5 to 9. That's what you're looking at. The problem is, you don't know what you're going to find until you do it. So you make a histogram that's grouped by 10 with a 10 width. And then you look at it and you say, well, that's group. Okay. Let's group by 5 and see what it looks like. Okay, let's group by 5 and start at a different spot. So every histogram has a look depending on what number you choose to start at, 0, and how wide the histogram is. So the histogram here, from 0 to 5, 4 to 9, is 5 wide. The 5 possible numbers that can fit. So every histogram is unique depending on the starting point and the width. You always keep the width the same as you move. You don't jump around. Let's do 5 here and 10 there and 5 there. You always stick to the same one, otherwise it's not histogram. And you never know what you're going to get until you do it. And so, is there a rule for how to choose the starting point and the width? The answer is no. If you put 10 statisticians in a room together, each will have a different way to choose it. Most of them make 4 or 5 histograms and then say, I like this one best. Just the way it is. Which makes Google a lot easier. So if I go back to Google for the histogram, okay. I can just go back and edit this, advanced edit. And if I go to customization down here somewhere, it says something about buckets. Chart types. I'll use a different example to demonstrate. So that's this, new sheets. So it's confused because I have different columns of data. So I'm going to use that rand between. And let's say we're going for digits, so that means my smallest random digit would be 0, my greatest would be 9. Fill that up a bunch of things. So now if I go over to insert chart, it's going to say, hey, this looks like you might want a histogram. Okay, so it's moving my histogram. And it's grouping by 1. I could go to customization and say, please make, here we go, please make the bucket size 2 instead. It says, okay, here's what it looks like if it's 2. I want to make it 3. I can play around with different tweaks.
Bucket 3, essentially you're saying, okay, 0, 1, and 2 are in the fifth bucket.
Yeah, so 0, 1, and 2 are in the first bucket, 3, 4, and 5 are the next one, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11. 11's not in there, 10's not in there, so this last one is just not.
And that's why it's so low.
And that's why it's so low. So can you sometimes choose bucket distributions that don't work for your data? Yeah, you can. So you have to play around with where to start and how wide your buckets are going to be to make it histogram.
So then in theory, you can manipulate your buckets to create a histogram that
Show what you want to show.
show what you want to show in your favor.
If what you want to show exists in the data.
Right.
But that's the thing. Any graph you make either accidentally on purpose emphasizes some aspect of the data. That's always going to be the case. So the question is, can you present it in a way that doesn't appear biased? And that's why. Because we have these intrinsic bias that we don't even realize. So we're going to play around with making some histograms. So this is going to be a little harder for Kelly and Debbie, because they're not with me. I have with me a whole bunch of M&Ms, and I'm going to have to help you guys remotely do this. So should we play with peanut or plain? Preferences? Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to play with peanut M&Ms. So I have a large collection of peanut M&Ms here. I'm going to put them into a clean container. I've washed this before class. So what I'm curious about in my collection of M&Ms, I apologize, I already did this. So let's see, this was what size? So I'm kind of curious, what percent of green M&Ms are peanut M&Ms exist? Or about how many M&Ms fit in a certain size bag? So I have some more cups. I'm going to give you guys each a sample of M&Ms. There's some new. Same, ready, yours. All right, and then Kelly and Debbie, I'm going to pour some M&Ms out here for you. Let's see. At the very least, I will take pictures to my phone with my phone and send them to you. Okay, so Debbie. So as soon as you get your M&Ms, what I want you to do is sort them. And again, I'm going to have to do this for you since you joined here. By color. And I want to know how many of each color there are. And then we're going to make what's called a pictograph. So a pictograph is like a histogram, but you use a picture to make it. So bear with me here. Okay, so can I get the camera to work? I'll stop sharing for a moment. spot. How about here? Blue camera. See me? Camera not detected. All right. Okay, so I'm going to take some pictures. Give me just a sec. So, oh, by the way, this is activity 10-1 in the activity book that we're doing right now.
That's a question.
Today's question. All right, so let's see. M&M, Kelly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a stack of each color on my paper. Sure, yeah, that'd be great if you brought the other one. Let me bring up the description of the activity. So Kelly, I can send you a copy of the activity.
Okay.
Pretty sure I have this. Back on. I can't find the web. I think it's computers have the best communication. We have names and names here. Questions. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for here. So we're going to make this is called a pictograph. It's a histogram with an image. Okay, so they want brown, orange, blue, green, red, yellow. Sorting your evidence here. Take a picture and post it. So, quantity is going to count for each color that we possess. And then we'll go down. You guys are adults, so this is a little different. I usually frown upon candy in an elementary school classroom. It affects them to be a bit different. One, sure. Share automatically. Out. Count here. Switch to the bonus set to share is automatically unlocked. Yeah, right. That could be dangerous. Oh, check out what I saw in Portland the other day. It's the Easter beaver. So here is an example of a pictogram based on the project, where I'm trying to show how many are in each stack. So that right there, we'll call that Kelly's stack. Greg, and over here, so I'll take a picture, show this, and I'll take a picture of Greg's. I'll show this for you. This is Debbie's. Other, take a picture of Google. Okay, so let's do some data collection here. All right, so Kelly, did you make a note of how many colors I had for each one here? So it looks like we have 3 brown, 4 orange, 6 blue, 7 green, 1 red, and 9 yellow. And then we're going to need class data, so we're going to have to collect all our data together. So I'll ask for help with that. All right, should have a few more pictures here. Good. Oh, there's another one. Okay. This one right here is going to be Debbie's data. So we have 1 brown, 9 orange, 9 blue, 5 green, no red, and 5 yellow. That's Kelly. Did you get that, Debbie?
Yeah, there was no red. No red.
Nope. Right. All right. What else we have? Again, we should see. Right. Well, okay. So let's see. This must be Greg's here. So Greg has 1 brown, 5 orange, 6 blue, 10 green, 5 red, and 3 yellow. Finally, this one must be Danielle's. You know that kind of paper?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so for Danielle's, we have 3 brown, 3 orange, 3 blue, 6 green, 4 red, and 9 yellow. All right, you guys get all of that. You know the part about getting that? Did you write any of that?
I wrote Greg's in mine now.
Okay. All right, so let's see if
At that
somebody
point.
can help me catch up here. So I'm going to open up my Google spreadsheet to summarize this. That's cool. So let's start that histogram, and sheets, programs. All right, so here are the B, Greg,
No.
and then 2 others.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then the colors according to the project, there's brown, orange, Okay, so let's fill in the gaps here. So, Debbie, do you remember your configuration?
Yes, 1.
Starting with the round, it was 1?
Yep.
Okay.
9. 9.
Yep.
5. 0. 5.
All right. Let's see. That was 3, 4, 6, 7, 1, and 9. Greg, what were yours? Do you have Nordia, Brown, 7?
Brown was 1, was 5, was 6, green was 10, red was 5, yellow was 3.
Okay, and Danielle, what do you have here?
3 for brown, orange, and blue. 16 for red and green.
All right, so let's do some sums here. Try to dish out the same amounts. Not too bad, 29, 30, 30, and 28. Okay, that's close. And then the sums running this way for each color. Okay, so here is our data. Let's colorize this stuff a little bit. All right, so these are our sums here. So for example, there's in our set of M&M, there's 117 total that we have to work with. So I'm kind of curious as to what percent brown, orange, blue, green, and so on we have. So I'll calculate those for us. Remember, when we're doing a spreadsheet calculation, we always start with equals. Click on any numbers we want. Now, what's going to happen when I try to fill this formula to the right? Is it going to work in my interest, or am I going to have a problem? You guys remember what happens when you fill a formula? It's gonna shift every reference the letter. So when I copy this formula over here, it's going to change the B6 to a C6, which is great because I want the orange. Unfortunately, it's going to change the H6 to an I6. That's the problem. The I6 is not total. Do you remember what to do to fix a part of a spreadsheet in a formula? Yeah, you put a $sign in front of what you don't want to change. Since I'm copying this left and right, I don't want the letter to change for where the sum is. The total letter. So I'm going to put a $sign in front of the H. That says don't change the H. We'll always leave it there. Percentage, go to the right. And so in the bag of M&Ms we have, we've got about 7% of them are brown, almost 18% are orange, a little over 20% are blue, about 24% are green, almost 9% are red, and about 22% are yellow. That's probably more detail than I need. Let's increase the number of decimals to 4 percentages. So that's our class data for this right here. so each individual, and putting these all together, we can definitely make a histogram. Instead of the histograms being sorted by, how many things are from 0 to 5, 6 to 10, and so on. Here, we're just how many round things are there, how many arms. The categories are much easier to do. There's no bin width to worry about. When you have a situation like that, it's technically called a bar chart, not a histogram. In the pictures that we have here, this one right here, when you use some kind of image to make the chart, it's called a pictogram. And you see pictograms all the time with different shapes. Like if they're talking about cars, they might have stacked cars, half of a car, things like that. It's kind of weird for people, but you see that kind of thing. So, but this is an example of a pictogram. And so you can come up with fun posters to make pictograms with in your classroom. And again, I would avoid candy and do other things. So for example, we could look at the temperature each day, and if the temperature's in a certain range, we put a symbol on a chart for that range. So we can make a nice chart based on the weather for kids and have that hang up and something to do. Something to kind of get them used to playing with data and graphs. And really, you can do that very young. Like, I don't know if any of you have children, I know some of you do. With my kids, I had little stars for behavior on the chart. How many stars did you get Monday? Okay, how about Tuesday? Oh, not looking so good Wednesday. Right, so you can make those kind of pictographs in a lot of different ways. The more positive, the better. But there are negative things that happen. So it's not out of the question. All right. So let's see what else we have here. So the first part of this was to use your data, your M&Ms, to make a pictogram, and you were to color them in crayons today, or pencil them in for each M&M that you got. And then we were going to try and put the class data together. We're also supposed to try and answer some questions. So we're a little bit biased on these questions because I didn't do them up front, but that's okay. For example, which color M&M did you think would occur most? Which M&M did you think would occur least? Now, I have a bias on the least part. When I was a kid, red M&Ms disappeared from the market. Does anybody know why? Red food coloring was radioactive, right? So they had to take it off the market. And so I kind of remember red M&Ms when I was a kid, and then I remember disappearing, and it was like, oh, there's no red. And then I remember they came back when I was a young adult, when they finally found a red color that wasn't dangerous. And so when I still think of red as a scarcity, so usually when I think of M&Ms, I think I ain't going to get many red ones.
Oh, clearly, our data.
And in our data, were they low? Let's see, let's get back.
9%.
The reds were at 9%. The browns were at a 7. I'm thinking like maybe brown's an easy color. Often I get more browns than I care for. Here in our sample, we didn't find many browns. Would it have been different in the plain M&Ms? What did the company really make in terms of what percent brown, what percent orange? Do you think they have a target when they make them? Like, do they aim to make 10% brown, 20% orange, 20% blue, 20% green, 10% red, 20% yellow?
I would imagine that.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, so they might not make as many of those, right? Yeah, so they might have a higher frequency on colors that are cheaper to use, right?
I know when we were painting cars, I know that blue is really cheap to paint a car.
Blue is cheap.
Whereas red, very expensive. It takes blue to make red. So,
Yeah. So
I would think that they have strategically.
they do, yeah. And so on Wednesday, I'll come back with the data I've seen about what they actually intend to produce and see how our little samples relate to that. Excuse me, I couldn't help but chow on some M&Ms here. So I think we're at a good stopping point here.
I was looking ahead in the activity.
Yeah.
Some of the questions it's like who or what is the maximum number of yellow M&Ms? I didn't write down everybody's numbers, just my own. I didn't realize I was going to need everybody's.
I'll share this spreadsheet with everybody.
Oh, okay.
Would the maximum number be the total?
Yeah, so the, okay, let's see what question. Oh yeah, so unfortunately we don't have a lot of people, so what I will try to do in the next couple of days is force my kids to eat some M&Ms so we'll get more data. I'm sure they're going to eat me for it, but, and we can tie this up. Yeah, so the way the bar chart works for the data we have here, so let me demonstrate that. Data. Move this over just a little bit. And this is called a dot plot. And work. So I'll do a dot plot for, say, the green. So with the green, we had a minimum of 5. Green measure that. And a max of 10. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so we had 1 5 occur, we had 1 6 occur, we had a 7 occur, and we had a 10 occur. Now with only 4 samples, the dot plot looks kind of lame. So if we have more people, like if I force my kids to do some things with M&Ms, we might find that somebody else had a 7, somebody had an 8, and another person had a 10, another person had a 6, somebody else had a 7, an 8, and a 9, and then it starts to fill in. So a dot plot is a pictogram, it's a histogram, where the category width is 1 each. Right, does that make sense? You guys still with me out there?
Yes.
Yeah. So the blue data there is our actual data. Right? 5, 7, 10, and 6 for the
Yeah.
And then I just make believe we have more data there. So I'll try to collect some more data over the next couple of days so we can make that a little bit more interesting. I'll share the spreadsheet as it is today on our newly formed website. And then I'll get some more. You know how you go to the store and you can buy little bags of M&Ms? There's 2 sizes of those. 3. There's the minis, and then there's the kind of medium bag, and then there's the next one up from that. And I think the next one up from that probably has about 29 M&Ms each one. So I'll buy some more of them and around. If any of you happen to like M&Ms and stumble across some and want to collect some data, please share them with us. Take a look at chapter 10. So today we covered most of 10.1 and a little bit of 10.2. So
I was reading along.
In 10.1 or 10.2? 10. We covered some of 10.1, but let's see, is there anything I skipped? Let's see. Yeah, I didn't talk about variability directly, but I did indirectly. Bias. Yeah, I kind of did it in a very different way. Yeah, take a read through that stuff. Yeah, I just did it a little different. Well, so there's some other things I'll talk about. The type of measurements that we'll do with data. And 10.1 really doesn't have much in it, actually, to do some vague. In 10.2, we start getting into different kinds of graphs. So the histogram, the pictogram, the stem and leaf we'll do next class. Those are cool. And they get into the frequency table, the group frequency table, which I showed you in Excel today. So I covered more than the basics and statistics that's in 10.1 and then kind of glossed over them that I used. And then I will share, I mentioned earlier before Debbie and Kelly were online that there's a statistics book I really like called The Cartoon Guide to Statistics. And so I'll photocopy a little of that and send it out to all of you to take a look at, because it's really cool stuff. So we'll talk some more about the basics, especially the idea of sampling, the kinds of things we can measure in samples, and then we're just going to make a bunch of graphs in class. So we're going to move to the computer lab so that you guys can make graphs instead of watching just play. And I can go live in the computer, so we'll move to the computer lab partway through the next class, and I'll do demos and you guys can follow along. All right, so there's another recording. I'll make sure it goes into the Math Best playlist so you can have access to that, Kelly and Debbie, and then we'll catch up again on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
All right, take care, guys. Kelly, will you be here Wednesday?
What?
Will you be here Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay, good. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.